Bill Maher was left almost speechless on his own show by an outspoken Trump voter. When Kid Rock spoke with the host of Real Time, he spilled the beans about what he thought regarding Kendrick Lamar's performance at the Super Bowl halftime show this year. Let's watch.
Like, how did he get that gig? Jay-Z. All right, what happened there? I think Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar should both send Colin Kaepernick a bundt cake and a six-pack of beer and a thank you note with a bunch of money in it. Because without him kneeling and getting everyone's panties in a bunch over the anthem, self-included, I don't think that happens.
Yeah, I know you.
And by the way, wait, one more point. This was the epitome of DEI. Like, this was the epitome of DEI blowing up. Because, you know, the NFL was all this DEI and racism, all this stuff. They got Jay-Z in their book and this, and like Kendrick Lamar goes out there and basically turns DEI into an IED. It's like, it's all black people, or all people of color, speaking to his crowd in the hood, black people. It was like the most non-exclusive, or the most exclusive thing ever. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm laughing my ass off.
Kid Rock also talked about how he related to Lamar's performance. Let's watch that.
But I gotta respect it. And here's why. You know, I grew up loving, emulating hip-hop, all things hip-hop, breakdancing, DJing, graffiti, rapping. And so I understand the culture a little bit more than most. And when I say most, of course, I mean white people. So, you know, watching it, I'm like, you know, after there's a lot of things going through your head, you know, everyone's like, that sucked, this, that, and the other. I'm like, man, this kid pretty much came out figuratively with both middle fingers in the air, doing what he does for the people who love what he does, unapologetically. And I don't think he gives a frog's fat ass what anyone thinks about it.
Like you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so I go, it's pretty much how I built my whole career. I gotta respect it.
Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance in New Orleans drew some criticism from the right. Eric Dougherty of Florida's Voice wrote on X, "Raise your hand if you survived the Black nationalist Super Bowl halftime show." Former Representative Matt Gaetz said the halftime show you just watched is clearly the regime's response to Trump's historic gains with black men. And Benny Johnson had to say, hey, NFL, Trump won. We no longer let talentless, mumbling, pagan, satanic cultists do halftime shows and pretend like people like it. And Representative Lauren Boebert said, tell me I'm not the only one needing subtitles for this.
Well, that was quite the motley crew of tweeters there, I must say. I don't know that we really need Matt Gaetz's hot take on Kendrick Lamar, but here we are.
Here we are. I actually thought, well, I didn't, it's not for me. I'm not a big Kendrick Lamar fan. This is not a, as Kid Rock alluded to, not a branch of music that is necessarily my area of expertise or what I like, but the optics of it were very pro-American to me. So if there was actually criticism of patriotism in there, there might have been. It went over my head. Like, I guess I'm in the Lauren Boebert camp. Not a place I usually find myself, but in not getting it if it was America critical. But what can I say?
So there was actually quite a lot of symbolism of it that was interpreted as, I'm not sure if America critical is the right word, but referencing slavery, for example, and things like that. In fact, one of the best performing stories last week on thehill.com was our colleague Cheyenne Daniels writing about, I think it was 5 secret messages in the Kendrick Lamar halftime show, and she outlines it in much more detail than I can. What I found odd about the Kid Rock comments was he's half supportive and half critical. Like, I don't really accept his point at all that the fact that there was a halftime show with Kendrick Lamar and lots of like black dancers and Serena Williams doing a crip walk is exclusive or exclusionary or shows how DEI has blown up in people's faces. I don't think that's a negative thing at all. But then, having made those comments, Kid Rock doesn't necessarily seem to think it's a negative thing. He implied that this was some self-own on the part of people propagating DEI, and then he said he was laughing his off. So I'm not honestly sure what point he's making.
I guess I didn't quite follow either. I kind of thought he was saying that in this case, DEI got like Kendrick Lamar in the door, but it was a really great performance. So
Maybe.
it's not. But I guess that's what the defenders of DEI say. DEI is about getting actually talented
Exactly.
people in. So
Yeah.
maybe if you thought that through, you weren't really making a criticism.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In any event, I think it's good that Kid Rock is speaking up for Kendrick Lamar. I think it is important, that, particularly at times when various cultural figures have become very, policed within the sort of matrix of Republican to Democrat, that the pro-Trump Kid Rock is speaking up for Kendrick Lamar. We're pretty confident is not.
My old neighbor, Kid Rock.
Really?
Well, he's from the Detroit area, as am I initially. And my dad is a big Kid Rock fan, actually.
I was going to say you're too young to have witnessed Kid Rock's rise to fame from the Detroit area, I presume. You don't remember him as an obscure small act, do you?
I don't remember him as an obscure small act. I can remember hearing about him probably in 6th grade is when he appeared on my radar.
Okay.
Didn't quite get his thing.
Sure.
Again, his music's not necessarily for me either, but I know he has a lot of fans back where I come from, and I always like to see a Detroit boy out there succeeding.
Like Eminem, for example.
Like Eminem, those are our two main people. I am actually a fan. I am a fan of Eminem. I like Eminem's music quite a bit.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad we've got you into the hip-hop era in some fashion. That's a good thing.
Up next, an unusual tribute on this President's Day. Stay tuned.